Thank you so much, Catherine, for your leadership, your support, and your inspiring words. I would now like to invite Purna Sen, who's a member of the advisory group for the dialogue, to give us an introductory address. Purna can't be with us in person, but she's joining us live. Purna.
Hi, thank you, Geeti. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And may I offer greetings to all who are joining the Reykjavík dialogue, to the Prime Minister, to Reykjavik City, the Nordic Council of Ministers, and very warm greetings too to all the troublemakers who are joining, one and all. In March 1976, over 2,000 women from 40 countries gathered in Brussels for the International Tribunal on Crimes Against Women. Witnesses at the tribunal came from Korea, from Iran, from Ireland, from Chile. They spoke about rape, femicide, the brutalization of women in prison, sexual objectification, and pornography. They explored ways forward, such as establishing new networks and a permanent tribunal. 20 years later, another international gathering focused specifically on ending violence was held in Brighton. Both of these events, led by the movement and shaped by survivor knowledge, provide inspiration for this Reykjavik dialogue. 26 years after the Beijing conference and in the year of the United Nations Gender Equality Forum, where a staggering $40 billion have been promised towards work to end gender inequality, we gather to focus again specifically on ending violence against women. Governments have had many international meetings, especially with the United Nations, where their work has been showcased and where gender inequality has been discussed. They examine each other's work in formal procedures, and they have survivors address them too. But it's our contention that the accountability that matters most is to the survivors who have been told that there is zero tolerance, have been promised that perpetrators will be held to account, and that violence against women will be eliminated by 2030. Yet many survivors speak of betrayal by those who promised so much, but who undermined them, who refused to believe, and who did not stand beside them when they named abuse. Me Too was truly international, and it showed clearly the power of speaking directly, of connection, and of survivor intolerance of the status quo. It matters that survivors and activists lead, especially those who have been least well heard. We know that this is not always done as well as it should be, and we commit to learning further and improving. The Reykjavik Dialogue was born of a vision to provide a convening space where survivors, activists, practitioners, researchers, service providers, those on the front lines could draw up a shared agenda for action to end violence. Let's recognize the work done by those convened for this event and others who are not here with us. We see and we hear the Chilean troublemakers when they tell us about a rapist in your path. We are inspired by the South African troublemakers who managed a total shutdown. Could we do it again, I ask? Could we do it globally? And we are humbled by the thousands who walked 10,000 kilometers across India in the Dignity March to end sexual violence. We know that women organizing, making noise, being troublesome, this is what has made it impossible to ignore violence as a public concern. Yet the violence rages on, and we are unsurprisingly met by political and ideological resistance against women's rights. The tragedy in Afghanistan, the armed male supremacists who will kill for what they see as their right to claim sex from women, the unbearable cyber-based explosion of sexual exploitation. These are considerations that will no doubt be on our minds as we deliberate the next few days. We ought not to treat various forms of or locations of violence as distinct. Contexts vary, but much remains shared. Structures of inequality permeate all spaces. Power needs unmasking and addressing. Justice is an idea, the reality of which we still seek and which will provide the focus for the next 24 hours. Many of us have, of course, been involved in and invested in making new laws and making procedures work better for women and girls. But has the idea of justice been too tightly captured by formal systems that have been established, are occupied by, and are deferential to the patriarchal state structures we all live with? When humanitarian, peacekeeping, and disaster relief personnel are accused of sexual abuse, Their home countries often decry the standards of investigation and criminal justice in the countries where the abuse is alleged to have taken place, and they're rarely held to account. What does this mean for our understanding of justice, whether national or international? What country really can claim to have domestic rape conviction rates and accountability that survivors would recognize as just? Aren't we all being challenged and being resisted by justice systems that share patterns of disbelief of survivors, protection of abusers, and abysmally low rates of conviction? And what of the colonial legacies that make it so easy and uncontestable to denounce justice systems in the global South as being of inherently poor quality? Perhaps the conference will invite us to think about what justice means if historical legacies of inequality, of colony, of slavery, and more are given their rightful recognition, and if we listen to and learn from those who have sought justice through them. In this dialogue, we seek to draw links and make connections. The global pandemic has seen an increased attention to domestic violence. At the same time, it has perhaps marginalized work on other violence, child marriage, FGM, trafficking. Fragmenting the vision and the work is detrimental to the efforts on elimination, and we reassert the continuum. In this dialogue, we seek to set out what it will take to progress elimination from words in documents to the reality of women's lives. Through this dialogue, we will imagine and influence activism against violence against women over the following 5 years, bringing intersectional framings and work to the fore. We seek to strengthen our links. As the Prime Minister said, the pandemic upended our original vision for this meeting, which was for hundreds of us to be gathered again at the Harper Conference Centre in Reykjavík. But it has perhaps made participation possible for some who might not have otherwise joined. We very much appreciate, Prime Minister, that Iceland, the city of Reykjavík, and the Nordic Council recognize the importance of this gathering and have created this space for our convening. Thank you, Prime Minister, your colleagues in Iceland, and all who enabled the dialogue. Huge thanks are also due, as you said, to the International Advisory Group that has worked tirelessly for many months to shape, reshape, and deliver this event. And to all of those who joined in the preparatory dialogues, thank you too. Here is the culmination of all our work. This hybrid gathering, virtual and in person, attests to our commitment to take forward what matters to us, the vision and reality of a world not only without violence, but where women and girls know freedom and joy. Thanks to everybody for being part of this. It is enormously energizing and uplifting to come together in this way. I look forward to our next few days together and all that we can do thereafter. Thank you.